Good morning, everyone. Panelists, please get hooked up with microphones. I would like to introduce to you Clara Tatlow-Devally, sister of Daniel, who is one of the Ulm5. The Ulm5 allegedly took action against Elbit Systems there. She will talk to us as a member of the family. The Ulm5, as far as I'm concerned, are following the legacy of the Ulm2. What do I mean by that? The Ulm2, the siblings Scholl, Hans and Sophie Scholl, who grew up in Ulm, the city of Ulm, where Elbit Systems is situated today in Germany. Sophie and Hans Scholl were part of the White Rose movement, those anti-Nazi dissidents in Germany at the time, who have spoken very clearly, in a very clear, uncompromising way about the need to fight Nazism, fascism. And not only that they spoke about the rights of everyone and against the scourge of Nazism, they also talked about the need to take action. In leaflet 3, they wrote, in one paragraph, they wrote the word sabotage 6 times, double-spaced, on their typewriter. Sabotage against the war industry, sabotage against any part of the war machine, etc. The Ulm5, as far as I'm concerned, are following that legacy, quite literally putting the wrench in the machinery of death, destruction, and genocide. So, I would like to introduce to you Clara Tatlow-Devally.
Hi, thank you so much, Ronnie, for the great introduction. Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for having me here. It's really an honor. And yeah, just the image of the Ulm2 that Ronnie was speaking about, using their typewriters as sort of their own weapons. I'm just having the image of my brother Daniel, who's been in prison for the past 10 months, who was actually allowed to have access to a typewriter from the prison library. So they've been writing a book on that for the past 10 months from their cell. So yeah, that imagery just came to me really strongly. But yeah, so on the evening of the 8th of September, 2025, I first heard that my brother Daniel had been arrested. Video footage was later released on social media, and it showed Daniel and 4 others breaking into the site of an Elbit Systems factory in Ulm in southern Germany, damaging computers, office equipment, and spray painting walls. It showed the 5 standing together, waiting for the police to arrive, and with their hands raised, being taken into custody. I watched this video standing in the kitchen of our family home. I had no idea that this was coming, and I couldn't help but feel a bit heartbroken. I was watching my brother on my phone screen as they sacrificed their freedom for a greater cause, taking action against genocide. So Daniel, V, Zoe, Crow, and Leandra, they're from Ireland, Germany, the UK, and Spain. They were all living in Berlin prior to their action and their arrest nearly 10 months ago. At the time, they were increasingly concerned about the genocide in Gaza that was and is being live streamed to the world. They each dedicated much of their time to peaceful and legitimate protest against Germany and their material support for Israel and its unrelenting violence towards Palestinians in Gaza and across the occupied territories. Like many of us, the Ulm5 took to the streets in protest. Week in, week out, they engaged in community drives, in fundraising events, and many other actions. And in the end, these 5 young people of conscience asked, how can they live in a state, how can they act within the law when they're living in a country that's failing to uphold it? The Genocide Convention demands of states that they act to prevent genocide, yet Germany delivers weapons to a state that's committing it. The trial began at the end of April and continues still. Progress is slow. The judge is quick to call for hour-long breaks over small disagreements or cancel a day over disruption from a single audience member. In court some weeks ago, Daniel was finally able to speak about the action and why they did it. Daniel shared their motivations with the judges sitting on this judge-only case, with the prosecutor who claims that Daniel is a member of a criminal organization, with their supporters in the gallery, and with our mum, our dad, and our stepdad who were in the gallery as well. Daniel addressed the court in German. I'll read the English version, just of some extracts of Daniel's own words. My actions at the Elbit facility in Ulm were motivated exclusively by urgent humanitarian considerations. Multiple international bodies, including an independent UN Commission of Inquiry, have concluded that Israel's actions in Gaza meet several criteria for genocide, each of which is sufficient to conclude that such a crime is taking place. To look the other way when genocide takes place is reprehensible. To provide the equipment with which it is carried out is worse. In the face of mounting evidence, Germany drastically increased its supply of weapons and war equipment to Israel's occupying and invading army. By damaging the arms production facilities of Elbit Systems in Ulm, the aim was to stop, to the greatest extent possible, their material support for the crimes being committed in Gaza. For such support constitutes complicity in genocide. When I saw the indictment that the prosecutor had sought to portray us as anti-Semitic, in line with a tired and fallacious argument common in the German public sphere, I wasn't surprised, though I was of course outraged. It is disgraceful to characterize resistance against occupation and mass murder as anti-Semitism. It was heartening, poignant, and amusing to compare this rhetoric with the warm solidarity expressed towards myself by my many Jewish family members. Here, I would particularly like to mention my stepfather, whose moral compass, kindness of heart, and resilience have influenced me since I was very young. So perhaps you can glean from these extracts that I've shared of Daniel's address to the court how thoughtful my brother is. Daniel's an exceptional person with a compassionate and critical mind, a love of extensive reading, who understands the world through lenses of literature and philosophy, through history, through the natural sciences, through anthropological theory. They are creative and sensitive. They're a brilliant cook. They're a fast runner. While their nearly 10 months in prison have been tough, they have shown remarkable resilience. We're proud of them and we miss them every day. We're also very grateful to all of you for making time to listen to this. And I would like to finish by sharing my brother's opening line to the court last month and a little bit about what we can do going forward. So Daniel addressed the court again in German, but I'll read it in English. I would first like to say that what has taken place here to date, and Daniel refers to the trial dates in this, means that I am not at all convinced that this is a fair trial, and I also doubt that the court will genuinely listen to me. Indeed, the lawyers have told us that they've never experienced anything like this trial. They call it a show trial. The court is determined to characterize the Ulm5 as dangerous. They have no prior convictions and they're not accused of causing harm or even threatening to cause harm to anyone. And according to the lawyers, the presiding judge is violating the European Convention of Human Rights in multiple ways. So we've been pleading with the Irish government to come good on its words on Palestine and observe this trial, where one of its citizens' own rights are being violated. So far, we've been met with silence. So if you want to help, we'd ask that you please write to your TD, to your senator, to your MEP, and ask them this following question. Ireland recognises Palestine and understands that a genocide is taking place. So why isn't our government observing a trial in Germany where a citizen is being denied their basic human rights for the alleged crime of seeking to prevent a genocide in Gaza? Thank you.